Johnny, get on the... Put it in reverse. The car's in park. Okay, get on the floor.
You were there this afternoon when the police apprehended this guy. Walk me through what happened. I've seen the video. It's quite overwhelming, but tell me in your own words.
I was actually on my way home from the grocery store with my 12-year-old son, and we were at a stoplight on a pretty major highway in Chicago and the road that goes to our home. And we were the second car just sitting there. And all of a sudden we saw, I would say probably 10 to 15 law enforcement vehicles surround this vehicle that was going southbound, turning left. And my son and I kind of looked at each other and froze, and we knew what it was because we had been watching the news all day. We've been absolutely devastated and heartbroken for all of those victims and everybody involved. And we knew what was going on. And I had my son sort of duck under on the floor of the passenger seat. And I, for some reason, took my camera out of my purse and started filming. And the police over loudspeaker told him to get out of the car, which he did. And he seemed very calm, emotionless. And he put his hands on his head and they gave him several directions. And then they all had their guns drawn. And then they all sort of surrounded him, canines included. He dropped down to the ground and they cuffed him and immediately put him into the police vehicle.
Wow, what was your impression of this person when you saw him step out of the car?
Well, I got a perfect glance at him and I kind of froze because his picture had been all over the news all afternoon. And I could tell it was him because he had this tattoo underneath his eye. And I was absolutely sort of in shock, but so overcome by grief with what he had done, I was just relieved that he was finally being apprehended.
You were in the car with your son, I believe. What were you telling your son while this was unfolding?
We were full of emotion, obviously. We were shaken up, but I just kept telling him, just stay on the ground, stay on the ground. I didn't know if he was armed. I didn't know if he had bombs in the car. All the law enforcement had their guns drawn. And all I could think was, what an amazing force and a sense of safety that I felt just knowing they were all there so quickly and they were on top of it, which, so much gratitude for law enforcement today, because they, as I said in an earlier interview, they truly were the heroes today.
Absolutely. They apprehended him rather quickly.
Yes.
He didn't put up any sort of fight or resistance?
No, he seemed very emotionless. He gave no fight. He went.
Wow. How, last question, how surreal is this for you? When something like this comes to your community, what does it feel like?
Well, we're heartbroken, and obviously our entire community, our city, our state, our nation is absolutely heartbroken for the 6th victim who died and all the other victims who were injured, but then thousands of people who were affected by this tragic, senseless act. And I will be forever grateful for the law enforcement, for the doctors, for everybody who acted so quickly and really came together to capture him. And it's overwhelming. And I just kept thinking as I was filming, if I was one of those 25, 26 people who are personally affected, I would want to see that person, be captured. I'd want to see it. I'd need it for my own sense of closure almost. And, all I can say is just thoughts and prayers with that community, everybody involved.
Well said. Well said. Thank you, Kate. I appreciate your time tonight and, sharing what your story and what you went through today.
Absolutely. Thanks.